delighted to have you on Permission. A huge congratulations on the success of Dholida. It's your first Bollywood playback song. So, I mean, speak to me about the emotions that you're going through, the reception that it's got, and the fact that you've sung for a Sanjay Leela Bhansali film, which is so huge. So talk to me about that. How are you feeling?
Honestly, I still don't know how I feel because I haven't been able to understand what's going on. This is a very, very honest answer. And after a point, I just thought, let me stop trying to understand this and let me just go with the flow and do what I gotta do. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just doing my bit around the song. And it's, I've been saying this, there is making a Bollywood debut in playback singing is one thing, but making a debut under a banner like Sanjay Leela Bhansali is another thing altogether. So I feel very fortunate. I feel very honored that this is how the debut has happened for me.
Right. So what was the approach like for the song? I mean, how were you approached for it actually?
To start off about this, for this answer, I would like to go back 15 years in time. When in 2000 Saawariya released, I was one of the backing vocalists for the entire movie among the 5-6 female backing vocalists.
Wow.
And that was my first association with Mr. Bhansali. And it was a long process. It was a process of 2 or 2.5 years where we recorded for all the songs. The soundtrack was big, like there were at least 10 to 12 songs. And then there was background music also, for which there was intense vocals also used in various ways. And interestingly, luckily, that was my first ever stint of recording in a studio in my life, in my career. So it started off with a project like Saawariya, and so I had lots of things that I got to learn about the recording techniques and lots of nuances. And then Mr. Bhansali, luckily, known for his great memory, he thought of me when this song had to be recorded, and he invited me to sing as a leading vocalist.
Wow.
So this experience was also very, very enriching in a different way for me.
Wow. I mean, Jahnvi, at that point when you were, being the backing vocalist for Saawariya, did you ever, it must have been quite a bittersweet moment for you, because number one, you're getting to work with such a huge maestro, not just in cinema, but also in music too. At the same time, you weren't kind of giving that due credit as a lead vocalist. So it must have been a very bittersweet moment for you, right? Like, were there ever any expectations or hopes that you will also get selected?
No, I had no expectations whatsoever. I had gone just as a backing vocalist, and I think that also was very big for me, that just to be a backing vocalist. And it's not an easy job to do that either. It's very tough to sing in sync with the other voices, where you're not trying to shine over the other voices. That's not the job of a backing vocalist. So it was very interesting for me to learn those things, and it wasn't on my mind then. But with time, of course, I think somewhere in my subconscious, there was a seed that was planted where, a dream of singing in a Bhansali film, but I had not expected to come out this way, honestly.
Right. When was the exact moment where he approached you for Dholida?
It was before COVID came into our lives. So It was that long ago. Actually, the film was ready since more than a year, but due to COVID and because it was ought to release in theater, in cinema halls. So I think because of COVID, it kept being postponed. And so the wait became much longer than it would have been. But yes, this was recorded in the pre-COVID era. And I went in like I go into any recording, I was intrigued what is in store for me and what kind of song And, I was thinking of ways I was preparing myself. I was doing my riyaz every day, and I thought I went very well prepared with my vocal exercises. And my focus was to just deliver the song the way I was supposed to. I didn't know what was going to happen with the song, how it was going to be picturized, what this was for. It was only when I went in for the session the second or the third time that I learned a few things about this. And I was told that this is for a film called Gangubai Kathiawadi, and Alia Bhatt is the female, she's the heroine of the film. And I still couldn't believe that my voice was going to be, pictured. She was going to be in the video with my voice in the background. It was only when I was called to watch the shoot on the shooting set of this song that a little bit of it sunk in. And I was mesmerized when I went to the shoot. It was my first time at a film shoot set. And that too in a, like a magical set like Mr. Bhansali's films. It was, and then to see so many beautiful women, including Alia Bhatt, dancing to my voice playing in big speakers, and everyone hooting and enjoying dancing to the song. And of course, the choreography. Yeah. I went crazy looking at the choreography. I was like, oh my God, I wish even I could dance like this. It's so much fun. So that was the time when a little bit of the reality, sank in my head. Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I think Navratri માટે બહુ fine નવા ideas મળ્યા છે હવે choreography થી અને singing થી. So I think it would be very interesting to see.
અને જે રીતે song હમણાં સંભળાઈ રહ્યું છે, જે રીતે song નું response છે, એવું લાગે જાણે કે નવરાત્રી હમણાં ચાલી રહી છે.
હે ને?
દિવસોથી ચાલી રહી છે. હે ને?
Absolutely. It literally feels the Garba fervor is truly on, and I think I'm very happy to see that actually. So it goes to you all. In fact, you actually are quite a well-known and prominent singer in Gujarati, in the Gujarati space also. Like the way you sung folk songs is amazing. In fact, my earlier memory of you actually was, I think in Beyond Bollywood, you sang Tara Veena Sham, I think.
Yes, with Salim Sulaiman.
The stage play, which was incredible. I still listen to it now, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you watch the show?
I loved the show. I think they did such a beautiful job of it. I mean, your voice was marvelous. And I've always admired your voice. And that's why when I saw your name come up in the song, I was very excited because I had seen
how nice.
Before. So I think, when it comes to Garba, there's a very spiritual connect, Jahnvi, because see, Apra Mate, it's a devotion, it's a form of bhakti.
Yes.
So when you are singing even a song like Dholida, which is for a commercial purpose, really, how important is it to feel that divine connect, when you are singing?
Music for me is, I find divine connection with music. Whether it's a bhajan or even a romantic song or even a dance number. But this all the more gave me a reason or a natural connect with the divine, because knowing what Garba is, માતાજીની માટે ગાવાનું. તો જે સ્ટાર્ટિંગમાં જે તમે આલાપને સાંભળો છો, જે એડલિબમાં શરૂ થાય છે, તો એનાથી જ શરૂઆત છે. તો it establishes the feel કે આ માતાજી માટે જ ગવાઈ રહ્યું છે ને સેલિબ્રેટ કરી રહ્યા છે માતાજીને આવકારવા માટે. તો I feel very much connected with Mataji when I'm singing Garbas or even during Navratri.
Now, a very interesting incident happened when I spoke with Kruti actually for the way when she was doing the choreo on set. And I think she described that there was actually a very almost divine presence actually when in the last part when Alia gets Mataji also, when she gets that, they felt a divine presence whilst actually executing the choreography and doing the dance moves. Did you ever feel a moment when you were singing for the song? Did you ever feel like a divine presence with you when you were singing Dholida also?
I think so, because I recorded it. I went for the session, we did the song, we worked on it, reworked on it like 3-4 sessions. So with each time that I went to recording, there were very different there were changes being made to the composition, to the lyrics, even the track itself. So all of that definitely gave me a feel to sing with the feel that was required in the song. And I hope that it showed in the song, and I hope that it can be heard in the song. I definitely felt the moment when, right from the ad lib part, where you're actually welcoming, "E Mawadi Ramva Avjo, Garbe Jilva Avjo." અને મારી માટે ગરબા એટલે હું ગાંડી છું ગરબા માટે, હું એકદમ ઘેલી છું. મને હું સાન ભાન ભૂલી જતી હોઉં જ્યારે ગરબા વાગતા હોય કે ગાવાની હોય. I don't care about the world around me. I just get into the zone and I enjoy Garba a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I truly resonate with that sentiment, and I really do. So we were talking about Mr. Bhansali earlier. Now, often when I've spoken with actors about him, he's often touted to be a tough taskmaster in terms of getting perfectionist out of his actors. What's he like as a composer, actually? Because that's one perspective I've not actually got to hear about. So I'd love to know about your experiences of working with him, and how tough is he really to work with?
There are filmmakers who, there are very few filmmakers who actually know music or have the knowledge that they require for the music that they want for their films. And he is one of them. He has grown up listening to music, and it seems like it has been a very important part of his life. And he knows the nuances and, the harkats, the technicalities, or the ragdari, or the feel that different genres need. He's, as a music director, he is very well able to even sing and explain that this is how I would like it to sound. He will literally sing the phrase and show you. And then it's your job to execute it in the best way possible. That is one thing. And he would, like we know, he's not tough to work with, but it's great for artists when you have a challenge in front of you, especially when you have someone like Mr. Bhansali directing you. He wants things a certain way, and it's a great thing when your director knows what exactly he or she wants. So I enjoy such challenges where he's explaining to me that I want it this way, I've understood it, but I'm really trying to execute it. That's the tough part. You may be able to, one thing is to understand what he's trying to say, and the second thing is to be able to execute it. And I really enjoyed the process of, executing it, rendering every word. Even in the antra, interestingly, Dholida, the hook line is with a very powerful projection, and the antra, there are a lot of these words where thoda sehmi si gana hai, ya phir nazakat, ek नटखटपना है उसमें, but at the same time you can't lose the power in the voice that is related to the character. So that was a very interesting challenge for me, and I loved doing it. I've never done it before. गरबा होते हैं गुजराती में ज्यादातर हम सुनते हैं और गाते हैं, but ये जब हिंदी में आता है, और ये क्योंकि फिल्म का गरबा है, ये फिल्म के लिए है ये गाना, तो there's lots happening. It's actually moving the film a little bit within the song. You see there's something happening in the song. It's not just a celebration or just another song for the film. The story is moving ahead. You know what exactly Alia is going through, or it is showing you what Alia is going through. So all of that was supposed to happen in the song. And that was an interesting process for me.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. So tell me, Jahnvi, a bit about yourself, actually, and a bit about growing up. Did you always know that you wanted to be a singer and be in the music industry?
I started learning music at the age of 7, and until I got into college and gave my exams for the 12th standard, I did not know that I wanted to make a career out of it. It was only after that where, an event led to a realization and led to a decision that this is it, this is what I want. And ever since then, there has been no looking back. So it's been more than 15 years since I decided to become a singer.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know in an artist's life, intezar to hota hi hai. I feel like in any creative's life, it's all about the patience. It's all about the persistence. How has that played out for you in your career? Patience, persistence, and waiting. How has all three factors played a role in your career and the way it's turned out?
I guess the result is here. I guess maybe I was patient enough without knowing that I was being patient. And I think the right things come to you at the right time. And I truly believe in it. Even if something goes wrong in your journey, you know that it is for the good, you know? So that's how I like to look at things, look at events that happen in my life.
And I think, I think it's a great phase that we're in at the moment, because Gujarati cinema is itself in on a revival.
Yes.
Thanks to, directors like Abhishek Jain, we even have our
Yes.
own OTT platform now as well.
Yeah.
So how do you feel what do you think about this whole revival that's happening in Gujarati cinema?
I think that since the time the revival from Abhishek Jain's movie happened, his movies, it has been a few years since then. And this itself has been established now, the beginning. Then to go to mainstream, it will take some time, because क्या होता है, मेरी समझ के हिसाब से मैं बताती हूँ कि बॉलीवुड जो है मेनस्ट्रीम, वो इतना उसकी जो स्टाइल है, बॉलीवुड के जो एलिमेंट्स हैं, या जिस तरह के डायलॉग्स होते हैं, या जिस तरह के गाने होते हैं, ये बहुत ही, आप कुछ देखते हैं तो आप कह सकते हैं कि ये बहुत फिल्मी है, ये बहुत बॉलीवुड है, राइट? सो to have that in a different language, that to like Gujarati language, it may sound, you may think that it will sound unnatural to say something like this literally translated into Gujarati. Thoda sa ajeeb aur funny bhi lag sakta hai. But people are doing a great job, especially the musicians, the lyricists, the composers, and even the filmmakers, of bringing that into Gujarati cinema. But wo jo ek established to ho gaya, but usko kaise people also need to get used to that filminess in Gujarati. So I guess that will take a little time, but it will happen for sure. Because the way the films are being treated, the ideas that are being brought in the films are quite interesting. People are, and Gujaratis definitely resonate with it. And hopefully, even the whole country will be able to resonate with, whether they're Gujaratis or not. Hopefully that will happen soon.
Yeah, and I think having filmmakers like Mr. Bhansali in place, I think the way he's brought our culture and our roots onto mainstream has been a great, great start. I think if it wasn't for him, I think people would have still been stereotyping us as these la-di-da Tarak Mehtas of the world, when that's definitely not the case. We're a lot more than the Dandiya and the Dhokla. So for obviously, sure. How important is it for also, I think, going forward now, for filmmakers and people who are Gujarati themselves to not stereotype also, whether it's the music, whether it's the acting or anything? How important is it to stay away from stereotypes also?
It's, I don't know about important, but I just know that it is difficult, because Gujarati culture is so strong, right? Like every other culture that you would find, there are some virtues that you find very commonly in Gujaratis. There are some, the thought process is similar, or the aspirations that Gujaratis have in general, largely is similar. So it may be difficult to break the stereotype so that it can go into the mainstream. But I don't know about importance. There are people who also believe that apne Gujarati audience માટે છે, તો આ ગુજરાતી પણું તો હોવું જ જોઈએ એમાં. There are people who may be thinking that way, and there are people who are also striving to, break that stereotype. Right,
definitely. I think Helaro's success as well has been a huge encouragement, I think, as well to the community, because it's given us this in a way, not a validation, but it's also proved that we can make the aesthetic films, we can make the really cinematic experiences that we always like to watch ourselves. So I think it's definitely been a huge encouragement that way as well. But Jahnvi, speaking of Dholida, I think it's gathered over 70 million views on YouTube, or it's probably surpassed that, I'm sure, by now as well. How was life like before Dholida from Gangubai, and how has life changed for you? If you could describe me that change or transition.
Um, I'm definitely, uh, you know, I hope that nothing has changed in me before or after Dholida. I hope so, and I hope it will never change, because I I have always worked the way I have without expecting, a song that I sing to go viral or becoming as big as this. So, but I'm definitely receiving a lot of importance and lots of compliments. It's great, I won't lie. It's great to hear hear from so many people that you may have lost touch with since years. And then I get messages from random numbers, and then then they tell me that this is the person who I am, we had met here, and so and so. And then I'm like, oh yes, thank you so much, so sweet of you to remember and message me, kind of a thing. So, and it's great, I'm hearing from my school friends, my school fellow classmates. I may have not even remembered about them since like fifth grade or sixth grade, but they look me up on social media and they text me and, hey, I'm so happy for you that you actually pursued your passion for music in this way, and it's great. I'm right now. It's too early to speak about how I feel, because I'm just going with the flow and I'm doing things that I got to do. But hopefully, this will lead to better things for me. This will have lead me to singing even more songs and working with a lot of composers that I've always dreamt of working with. So I'm very thankful to Mr. Bhansali for really inviting me and having my vocals on this song.
Right. So, which composers are you particularly excited in working with?
I have always been, and I am a strong fan of Mr. Rahman since childhood. कौन नहीं है उनके फैन, और कौन सा म्यूजिशियन उनके साथ काम नहीं करना चाहता है. तो this is my dream.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's very supportive towards new talent also. Like I remember Jahnvi as well when she began. I think in Highway, I was very impressed. Like even Sasha Tirupati again, who's a fabulous singer.
Both of them are so good. So I love them.
It'll be wonderful to see you join that league now as well. And hopefully, and the thing is also, like, the way he's done the music as well for Guru. Again, he's also added that Gujarati touch to it, but without making it too overtly just about Garba,
Yes.
I think it's also good to celebrate our culture, but it's also good to try and amalgamate our culture within a modern sort of
for sure
music as well,
know. Yeah.
So is that something that you face actually as a singer as well? Like, do you also feel like it's important to do that as well, where you have your traditional aspects, but then sort of portray in a way which is also customizing to the modern and contemporary setup of society also? Do you feel that as well, Onus?
Yes, for sure. I think that when I make music, even if it is Gujarati music, I don't want to just stick to Gujarati audiences. I would like even the non-Gujarati audiences to listen to it, and I would like my work to reach out to the entire country and not just the Gujaratis. So yes, I think it is important to present it in a way that will appeal to every ethnicity or people from all communities. At the same time, they should also get a feel of what actually Gujarati music sounds like. It's a tricky one, but we know that so many composers can do it very beautifully, like Mr. Rahman. And I think at this point, I would like to add that Mr. Bhansali, like you said earlier, he includes these folk elements. He brings so much folk culture in his films, and not just Gujarati, but Rajasthani, Marathi songs. Like he touches all these ethnicities with his songs. And even apart from that, he has a lot of rag-based bandishes in all his movies. And I think it's great that that element is still alive through his movies in the industry.
And even in Gangubai, I think perhaps is arguably his most diverse, I would say, his album in that sense, because you've got like a Garba, two Garbas actually. You've got a Qawwali, you've got a Ghazal, also,
Yes.
or two ghazals, I would say. So it's really it's a nice mix that he's had in this
Yes.
album. So it just goes to show, actually, you know, because you mentioned obviously about when you were on set and when you were preparing for the song, all that. But if there was a memory of working, a particular memory or particular memories, whichever you prefer, that you could share with the audiences about working on this on Gangubai Kathiawadi and Dholida itself, what would be that particular memory or memories that you'd like to kind of pinpoint and highlight?
Can I actually talk about a memory from Saawariya?
Please, please, please. Oh my God, please. That would be amazing. Please, I'm a huge fan. I'm one of those rare people who actually loves Saawariya, the music and the film. So I would love to hear about that, please.
This is a very, very personal memory. So, but I'd love to share it with you nevertheless. It was the time when, you know, it's a process. Like when you get into the studio, when he's there, काम करते करते और आइडियाज सोचती हैं, फिर उनको आइडिया आता है कि नहीं, ये जो ऑलरेडी हमने जो ये गा लिया है ना, उसको चेंज करते हैं अब, तो फिर उसका फ्रेज ये करते हैं, और फिर क्या होता है कि हम बैकिंग वोकलिस्ट तो सब एक साथ गाते हैं, राइट? There's no one individual voice, but there was a moment when and all of the singers were fabulous. They're all very good friends of mine, and they're all individually doing very, very well now. You know, we all had started off together, but there was that one day where he wanted to hear us all individually, and my heart was going like dug, 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 dug. I was so nervous. You know, because singing on a mic in a studio, that too at Yashraj studio to begin with, such a huge booth, and then recording booth, and then in the recording room, in the monitor room, there's so many people sitting apart from Mr. SLV, along with his ADs and sound engineer, the arranger, everyone. तो सबके सामने अब इंडिविजुअली सडनली गाने को बोला वन बाय वन, तो मैं तो बहुत डर गई थी, लेकिन मन में ये भी चल रहा था, प्रिपेयर कर रही थी कि कैसे गाना है इसको. यू नो, एक सेकंड में बहुत सारे थॉट्स आते हैं हमको. तो जब मेरी बारी आई, सबको सुना उन्होंने फिर मुझे फिर से गाने के लिए कहा कि जानवी एक बार दोबारा आप गाइए प्लीज. तो मैंने जब गाया तो फिर जब निकले तो उन्होंने कहा कि you know, he complimented me on my voice, and you have no idea what that my day was made. When I was going back home, immediately I called my mom, you know, this is what happened, and I was jumping. And I remember I used to have a journal in which I used to journal my thoughts and my experiences through the day, and definitely through this recording period I did, and I still have it in writing in my journal, written about this event that happened and what were my feelings when I received a compliment from him. So that memory is very, very fresh in my head even now.
Wow. Okay, I'm curious to know, the backing vocals that you did, was it for the numerous occasions in the background score, or was it for Daras Bina Nahi Chain?
For all the songs.
Oh wow.
As well as, yeah. और एक मेरी आवाज ना, उन्होंने जो दरस बिना नहीं चैन जो है, तो उसमें मुझे स्टार्टिंग में एक आलाप एकदम हमिंग वाला 3 नोट्स वाला एक फ्रेज है, वो मुझसे गवाया था अकेले से.
आप गा दो हमारे लिए, गा दो प्लीज. I wanna hear it now.
अब जितने लिसनर्स आप सुन रहे हैं, जाके वो गाना सुनना और फिर उसमें मेरी वॉइस आइडेंटिफाई करने की कोशिश करना. According to me, it sounds like another instrument because it's blended in like that, but it goes like, you know, it starts with and then the voice comes in.
Oh.
So that part I was made to sing, and that itself was a very big deal for me. I was very, very excited about it.
Wow, Jahnvi, this is incredible. What a journey. And you know, I think this is so inspiring to so many singers out there and to so many creators out there who work in the background, you know, because I've been a background dancer in a film. In fact, that's how me and Kruti met, actually.
Oh.
And I know for sure how hard background vocalists and background dancers work. And sometimes they don't get that due credit, you know, they don't get that due credit because they really are such superstars in their own right, man. You know, to get that fine tuning, they elevate them. They elevate them.
Yes.
So
but now times have changed. I think, at least for the music industry, I think that if you go to the YouTube link of the original song, you will find in the description that every person involved, including the backing vocalists, are given credit. And even if you look on the streaming platform, I'm so happy to see that there is my name, there is Shail Hada, of course, but there are also other names that have gone into this song. It makes me very happy to see that.
Yes, and rightly so. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think it's a big, and I think it's also a big testament that, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how, tough, even though you might be doing back-to-back background vocalist stuff, you will eventually get that due credit because it's about talent, and talent and passion. And I think the universe really reciprocates that. And I think your story is a
Yes.
testament to that, right, Jahnvi?
I guess so.
All right, that was a lovely anecdote. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. But on a parting note, though, Jahnvi, I cannot let you go without singing a few lines of Dholida. Please, I think it would be such a huge honor.
सैयर रे हिचलाई गरबे घुमो ढोलीड़ा ना ढोल वाग्या धम 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 धमक धम ढोलीड़ा धम धम धमक बाजे ढोलीड़ा धम धम धमक बाजे ढोलीड़ा धम धम धमक बाजे नाचे नाचे रे ढोल पे हवा ढोलीड़ा धम धम धमक बाजे ढोलीड़ा धम धम धमक बाजे.
Oh my God. That was incredible, Jahnvi. I mean, I just felt that power. I think, oh God, what a song. I think it's genuinely, it's one of those songs which I think will always forever be cherished as a huge, powerful, divine, and all these sort of words to describe it. I think it's just magical. Even that last part, Vojo, Mari Mari Kapparwari. I mean, that part is just incredible.
Yeah, it is very powerful.
Just pure magic.
I also want to say that nobody, sorry, you can just, this is off the subject. But I also want to say that जब कोई गाना बनाता है तो वो तो ऐसे ही बनाते हैं फिल्म की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से और जिस हिसाब से उनको लगता है कि हाँ ये बेस्ट साउंड है फिल्म के लिए, ये बेस्ट वर्जन लग रहा है, इसको फाइनलाइज करते हैं. तब कोई ये सोचता नहीं है कि ये तो देखना वायरल होने वाला है गाना. तो जब कोई गाना या कोई भी चीज वायरल होती है तो दिस इज आई थिंक it just goes to show that people have actually loved it and they are the ones that make it go viral. There's no other way that a song can go viral like Dholida. I had never, when I sang it, I enjoyed singing it, but I never thought in my dreams that it would reach out so widely and it would be loved or appreciated so much.
Absolutely, definitely. And one thing I must say is that if there's two filmmakers that know how to present crescendos in their songs, or in their visuals, I think it's Subhash Ghai and Sanjay Leela Bhansali. These are two filmmakers in our industry who really know how to make a lovely dramatic build-up and just end on such a high note.
Yes.
And I think, speaking of high note, Gangubai has definitely succeeded on a high note as well at the box office, critically as well. So I think a huge congratulations, Jahnvi, to you and the entire team.
Yes.
Your win is a win for all of us Gujaratis and all of us aspiring artists. Well, not all of us aspiring, but all the other aspiring artists out there. So thank you so much, Jahnvi, for taking the time out to speak with me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show. I loved talking to you, Anuj.
Oh, I love talking to you too, Jahnvi. Thank you so much for singing Dholida as well. You played by 2022, I think.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jahnvi.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.